tree that I air layered a few months ago, and now we're coming to look and check on them and see how they're doing. And so I peeled back the aluminum foil, and it's doing okay. It's got roots mostly in the bottom, not in the top. It's maybe a little too wet. Okay, I'm going to cut this off because we're going to take it down and pot it up, even though it's only half rooted. It should work. Okay. And I got another one back here. Hopefully it's a little better rooted. It does seem to have a little bit better roots. Get off. Okay. All right. Okay, this is an air layer, a different tree. This is a sapodilla or chicle tree. And I'm going to open the foil up on this, and we find that there's no roots in this yet. And this, if you don't do anything, this will be a failed air layer. But it looks like what has happened is that there's gotten excess water from the rain up inside here. And what I do is I'll poke a hole in the bottom of this, and squeeze the excess water out of it. And you can't get this on the video, but it's actually quite smelly because it's kind of rotting inside. And what I'll do now is I'll put the foil, I'll probably have to get new foil, but I'll put foil back on this, and sometimes just by poking a hole and wringing the water out of this, it will root in another couple of months. And you might as well leave it on here and see if that is the case. Okay, now here I cut off a bunch of these, and I usually, when I have a lot of air layers, I don't check every one. I just cut them all off if the first few seem like they're well rooted. So I've done that, and I brought them down here to my potting area. Now, when you're potting these up, there's a few things you want to do. This is way too tall, and that's going to keep the roots from being able to grow out, because this will keep moving and mechanically breaking off those roots. So I want to make it much smaller, maybe in the 18-inch to 2-foot range. And it's also a good idea to leave some leaves on here if you can. It's not always possible, but it does help in getting the air layer to survive. A little bit of a tail here is fine. I usually like maybe 1 inch to 2 inches. It can kind of help stabilize things. I'm going to cut that off. Okay, and then as you can see, this thing is rooted up really well on one side, usually on the underside, and I think that's because the top is getting hit by the sun and it's too hot up here. The roots really don't want to grow, but this is sufficient for us to get the air layer to survive, regardless of the concentration of roots on one side. And what I do is I cut my rubber bands off here so that we can remove the plastic sleeve. And the top side has its wax on it, and you got to do this carefully because you don't want to damage the bark underneath. And then we peel that off. And try to get the plastic sleeve off without injuring or disturbing the roots underneath too much, or as little as possible. And I have varying levels of success with that, but anyway, that's the aim. Okay, once I have that off, now I'm going to put it in a pot. And I've gone to, this media in here is straight peat moss, of fairly fine grade of peat moss. But for potting it up, I've gone to a coconut mix that's more neutral, and I like it a lot better than the peat moss I was using before. So I put a little media in the bottom and just put this in and cover it up. You want the root ball a little bit below the finished soil level, not too much. And I'll put this aside in the shade in my nursery area, and you don't want deep shade, you want kind of partial shade, and wait for it to root up. And usually it takes about 6 months minimum going through the growing season for this to root up and be a field plantable tree. All right, thank you.